Hi, I'm Tom Donahue, and welcome to live election night coverage here on PEG TV, right here in Rutland County. We're happy to have you and tuning in tonight to get election results for the campaign that's been ongoing for a while around the county in a number of towns. Got the election coverage booklet right here, and there's a lot of towns, a lot of things going on tonight. Some have races, some don't. A lot of them have budgets. And of course, right here in Rutland City, we have 7 candidates running for 5 seats on the Rutland City Board of Aldermen. And there's a contested race also for the school board with 4 candidates running for 3 seats. And also both the municipal budget and the school budget, as well as an issue regarding fluoridation in the water. So we're going to talk about those results tonight as they come in. They'll be in soon, and we're excited to be able to deliver them right to you on your local community access television, PEG, I should say, TV, and which PEGTV.com. And of course, they're also on YouTube and streaming live, and the website, as well as, of course, Xfinity tonight too. So we're on your television set as well, but maybe on your favorite handheld device. And at this point, while we're waiting for some of those results, we have, as I promised, after the forum, I said we'll have some special guests. Well, we certainly do, and I'd like to invite Mayor Mike Dunges on the program with us right now. Mayor, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tom.
We'll call it a show. How's that?
Yeah, sounds like a show to me.
Coverage, whatever we want, a live election night coverage. We've been doing this for a long time, and we have a lot of people that are gracious enough to tune in to get their results here from us. We're excited about that because it's one of those things that community access in the Rutland region is great. I always have said it's one of the best in the, definitely one of the best in the state, but I would stack it up anywhere against any community access in the nation, personally.
Yeah, I'd say, being in other states, getting to watch their local television, this, especially their community access station, PEG TV has it well put together, and we're lucky to have this.
And we're thrilled to be able to bring election results. So, as you can imagine, there's a whole team of people working on this behind the scenes. I just get to sit here, but there's people out at the polls right now for PEG TV, working with the clerks and getting those results for us, as well as people behind the scenes running the cameras and the audio, and actually manning the phones, if you will, to get the tabulation for some of these results, and others tabulating. So there's quite a team here at PEG TV doing all this. Mayor, I'm glad to have you on. The last time we had you on the program, you had been elected mayor, actually. So that was a great opportunity for us to introduce you as the new mayor of the city of Rutland, and we were grateful that you were on at that point. Glad to have you on tonight, because I wanted to ask you, while we're waiting for some results, I know you're out and about, you always are, and this also coincides with a national election, or in this case, primary. And over you hear about what is on people's minds nationwide, and the economy's keeps coming up as number 1. Although I think by certain standards, the economy is doing well by certain measures, but I think the people measure, which is, how inflation went up, prices, goods and services, those kind of things went up, but not necessarily coming back down with inflation. Numbers coming down.
Right.
And so people are feeling that pinch and don't feel the economy is as strong as maybe some of the economic indicators show. So my question is, after that long introduction, is that number 1 on what you hear from people, and what other things are you hearing from people, Mayor?
It's definitely a concern, having those conversations with people when I'm out and about, as you said. On the national scale, on what's hitting, it equates to what's hitting their wallet here. Where the rest of the country may have these big peaks and these big valleys. One thing about Rutland that I've always experienced ever since I was a kid is we kind of ebb and flow a little. Things are a little bit subtler here in the changes. We don't see big swings. We see small implications. But the implication of this last set of inflation from 2022, 2023, 2024, and where we are now has been it's hit across the board, not just nationally, but very much locally, and people are feeling it, right? Whether it's when they go to the grocery store,
which is number one. And in fairness, it's not the grocery store's fault. I just want to
right, exactly, right. The cost of everything from the fertilizers the farmers use, the fuel has gone up. The cost of those goods, shipping, exactly, they've gone up. So everything has been pushed up, and that you even see that reflected this year in the city's budget, right? We have to pay employees more money. We have to focus on things like making sure that we have the right infrastructure. The cost of, sidewalks has, between the concrete itself, the rebar, the labor, those costs have almost doubled over the last 3 or 4 years, and that impacts us as well. And in order to keep providing those services, we had to go up a little bit too. What we tried to do is go up as little as possible while providing the best services, because we know that people are getting impacted across the board, throughout not just the city of Rutland, but throughout the state and throughout the entire country. So we want to make very intelligent, thoughtful changes, and then we're playing a little bit of catch up from those 2 or 3 years, and hopefully this will settle us out for a while. So on that side, that's probably the first thing I'm hearing. Some of the other stuff I'm hearing is it's funny, but as much as I hear about potholes, or I hear about the things that need to get fixed, or I hear about, the good things that are happening with, all the different events downtown or Wonder Feet and what we see, I think that people are still, there's a real strong pull for a movie theater. People ask me about it every single day. And I know it's not a government operation to build a movie theater, but what I'm hoping to do is connect these dots of the people that are trying to work on that to get it done. So it's a fun anecdotal thing, but it's actually, again, today at the polls, somebody asked me, when are we getting the theater?
Yeah,
and I love
appreciate
hearing that.
you sharing that, because we have always had one, and so it feels funny not to have one.
It does feel funny not to have one.
Stick us with us, Mayor, for just a minute while we read off some results. We have some first-in election results for Rutland City. And I see Henry Heck is here with us. Hello, Henry. Welcome to the coverage. I was calling it a show earlier, but it's really coverage, not. So thanks for being here. We'll have you on a little bit. And so let's tell you what some of the results are, folks, here in Rutland City. Alderman for the 2-year term, as I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in order. Sharon Davis is the top vote getter in Ward, at this point, trying to see Ward 3. I'm looking at Ward 3, American Legion. Sharon Davis with 380 votes comes in as the top vote getter in American Legion Ward 3 in Rutland City, followed by Henry Heck with 329 votes. Henry Heck, 329 votes coming in behind Sharon Davis. And then third, Michael Talbot with 320 votes. Michael Talbot, 320 votes, followed by Matt Wickham with 306 votes. Anna Taddeo with 301 votes. And Eddie Grove, Bob Perro Jr. with 269 votes. And Eddie Grove, in that order, with 171 votes. So again, we're looking for 5 out of, so we have 7 candidates. We're looking to elect 5. So let's go with the top 5 would be Sharon Davis, Henry Heck, Michael Talbot, Matt Wickham, and your 5th one then would be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Anna Taddeo would be your 5th in that order of 5. Again, Sharon Davis, Henry Heck, Michael Talbot, Matt Whitcomb, and Anna Taddeo is your top 5 right now, with one ward in Ward 3, American Legion, Rutland City. Let's see if that is the first and current one. Yeah. Okay. So, and school commissioner, let's start with the top is Justine Franco with 303. No, you can help me with Jen's name.
Rodone. I think that's how you say
Rodone.
it.
We're going to go with Rodone. How's that, Jen? Thank you.
I just call her Jen, so I could be getting it wrong too.
Bear with me. So, Jen Rodone, 200. So we're going to go with actually in order. We'll say Justine Franco, Stephanie Studley. So Justine Franco, 303. Stephanie Studley, 246. Closely followed by Charlene Seward with 242, and then Jen. I should have practiced this before I came here.
Radone?
Radone.
I think. Again, I could be getting it wrong.
And I'm going to write that in. Radone.
I'll call you if it's
At 234 votes. So that's very close, actually, in the school commissioner race, and that's American Legion, and again, taking 3 out of those 4. So in order, Justine Franco is first, followed by Stephanie Studley, closely followed by Charlene Seward, so that would be your top 3. Let's go quickly to, because we're talking about some races first, and then we'll get into some of the items. And this is Cavalry, which is Ward 4. So this is sort of the same western side of the city of Rutland, if you will. And again, Sharon Davis is the top vote getter with 557 votes. 557 votes for Sharon Davis. This one followed by Michael Talbot, and I'm going to actually number these now, which is second with 491 votes, followed by Matt Whitcomb with 463 votes, and closely followed by Henry Heck with 451 votes. Closely followed by Anatario in fourth with 461 votes, and then closely followed by Henry Heck with 451 votes, leaving Bob Perro Jr. at and Eddie Grove at 299. So let's go over that again now in order. I got them numbered this time. Sharon Davis, first and top vote getter with 557. Michael Talbot with 491. Matt Whitcomb with 463. Anna Taddeo with 461, and Henry Heck with 451. That's your top 5. And that is the Calvary Ward 4, which is the church. And then we'll go into the school commissioner's race, and number 1 there is Justine Franco, and number 2 is Stephanie Studley. So Justine Franco with 468 votes, I should say. Stephanie Studley with 399 votes. Followed closely by Charlene Seward at 356, and Justine Radone with 351 votes. Very close for the school board. There's 3 candidates out of the 4, and that 4th seat is very close between the 2 wards that have come in currently. So let me just, before I get into the other budget articles, well, actually, why don't I, Mayor, because I think
Sure.
we want to talk about the city budget. And let me just get mine out here. And that is, the municipal budget is Article 1. And since we have the mayor on with us right now, we'll talk about Article 1. In American Legion Ward 3, it has passed, the city budget has passed 357 to 234. And let's see where we are with Calvary. Article 1, 527 to 375. So if the other 2 wards follow suit anywhere close to this, it looks like your municipal budget is passed, Mayor.
That'd be great.
So there's some good news for you.
That'd be great.
And on the school board front, the school budget, very similar, 343 yes to 262 no, and the American Legion Ward 3. That's 343 to 262 for the school budget in Rutland City. And in Article 2 in Calvary Ward 4, a little bit closer, but still Article 2 passes 497 yes for the school budget to 420 no on the school budget, Article number 2. And then let me just jump ahead because there is the issue, the question on fluoride, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know the answer to that one, and make sure I have it right. So Charter Article 1. So in American Legion Ward 3, so a yes vote is yes to eliminate fluoride, and so this is eliminate, and a no vote means to leave fluoride in the water. The article yes is 251 to eliminate and 353 to keep fluoride in the water. How about that? And let me go back to, so that's American Legion. And let's look at Calvary Ward, Charter Article number 1, Calvary Ward 4. And this is, looks like same result there, to remove, let's say eliminate, I'm going to say removed fluoride would be a yes vote. That received 396, and for fluoride to remain, I'm going to write that, 527. So yes, 396, no, 527. So looks like fluoride stays in the water.
So far.
So far with these two, and
Yep.
I'm guessing the next two will look very similar. The municipal budget's passed, and right now you have clearly Sharon Davis is going to be reelected, and she's been on the board a long time and certainly worked very hard.
She has
over
a
the
lot
years,
of great experience that she brings to the board.
So it looks like, I'm just going to see if I can compare a couple of these while we're waiting for the next ward to come in, because I didn't tally them, but let me go ahead and say Sharon Davis here, and we have Henry Heck coming in second in Ward 3, followed by Michael Talbot, and Matt Whitcomb, and Anatadio, and then we have Bob Perro Jr. and Eddie Grove. So let's see how that compares in the two wards. Very similar. So it looks like you've got, potentially your top five there, with maybe Bob Perro Jr. and Eddie Grove not making it onto the board. That would be the incumbents being reelected, and two returning aldermen.
Yeah.
Both Matt Whitcomb and Henry Heck. This is two wards reporting in at this point, American Legion Ward 3 and Calvary Ward 4. Keep in mind, Ward 1 and 2 in Rutland City are the largest wards in the city, 2 being the largest now, and I think Ward 1 being the second largest. So this could change, so this is just preliminary at this point, with 2 wards reporting in out of the 4. So what do you think? You're excited about having a municipal budget? You can start back to work?
Yeah, well, we don't stop, right? And even if it hadn't passed, we would have had, we would have had to kind of go back to the drawing board and do some edits and bring it back. The important part about the budget passing is that, in this budget, a lot of what we put into there was focus on public safety, focus on expansion of services, and the ability to kind of look towards the future with some of the decisions we made in the planning department too. So there's some real substantive changes, but again, if you look at where the majority of the general costs rose, it was just based on the inflation and the cost of goods that went up. So we tried to do what we could to keep things tight. We leveraged the 1% option tax for paving this year.
Right. Which is the first time you've been able to do that.
Yeah, which able to keep it down to where it was. And then we're about to go into something called a capital planning process that's going to allow us to say, okay, with the future of the 1% option tax and the projects that we need to do in the city, how can we take that new source of revenue for the city and apply it to these things that are really important. Mm-hmm. And that process will go through multiple iterations. There's a committee that's going to be put together on gathering that data and giving it its first review. It'll go before the Planning Commission, it goes before the Board of Aldermen, and then I believe there's additional steps before we get to that final plan. So hopefully by October we'll have that plan, and then if all goes well, we'll be able to start using that. Obviously not this July, but the following July.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So there's other things that we can do with the 1% option tax. We can put money towards the pension deficit, which we already did. So we assigned $300,000 of that money to go towards the gap in where we are in the pension to where we need to be. That just happens sometimes with the flow of the economy. So as things get better in the market, that gap closes. As things get worse in the market, that gap opens. But we have the ability to close that gap by investing more up front. And as those things fluctuate, we can make those fluctuations essentially have less of an impact on the pension deficit. So that's where some of those funds will go as well.
And I know the Pension Deficit Committee was chaired by Larry Coopoli, so we'll have to find a new chair for that committee for the Board of Aldermen.
Yes, we'll have to get a new chair, and we'll miss Larry. And Larry Coopoli was an alderman for this year. Cheryl Hooker was an alderman for the year.
Right.
They filled the 2 vacancies in those one-year seats.
Right.
And last night at the Board of Aldermen meeting, we said some nice words. It was sad to see them go, but neither of them are leaving, and we both look forward to hearing their perspectives as we.
But they deserve to take us to backseat for a little while if they want.
They need to go on vacation.
So we need. So we do have what I think now is the second largest ward in the city in Godnick Ward 1, and Sharon Davis is again, and it appears to will carry the night as top vote getter from here in Rutland City. This one's Godnick Senior Center Ward 1, if you will. Sharon Davis with 454 votes, followed by Michael Talbot with 426 votes, followed by Matt Whitcomb with 416 votes, closely followed by Anatario with 412 votes, and then Henry Heck in that fifth spot with 398 votes at the Godnick Ward 1. Henry Heck with 398 votes, so that's your top five. 338 votes for Bob Perro Jr. in sixth, and Eddie Grove with 233. So pretty consistently, it looks like with just one ward left remaining, and it is the largest ward, but things would have to really be turned on their head at this point. I think you're going to have your incumbents reelected tonight, and then two former aldermen with some experience returning to the board, both Henry Heck and Matt Whitcomb is the way it looks right now. So as I said, there would have to be some drastic shift in Ward 2 when it comes in from Christ the King for that to change. So I think right now, congratulations to Sharon Davis for being your top vote getter this evening in this March election for Rutland City Alderman. And Sharon certainly has a lot of experience on the board and has put in a lot of time and effort over the years, and that's reflecting in her being a top vote getter tonight, which I don't expect to change. But again, followed by Michael Talbot with 426 votes, Sharon having 454 in that ward. Again, Matt Whitcomb not far behind there in third with 416 votes, and Anatario with 412 votes, and Henry Heck with 398 votes. And so we do have, we have an update on Ward 3, but we're going to go to Ward 2 so we can kind of finish this off. And wow, Sharon Davis is in fact carrying the evening with 702 votes in the Christ the King Ward 2. 702 votes for Sharon Davis in Ward 2. That's significant, I have to say. I've done this for many years.
It's a clear leader.
Yeah, that's really something. Yeah. And look who's coming in second here, Henry Heck with Michael Talbot with 604 votes, followed closely by Henry Heck with 598 votes in Christ the King. Henry Heck with 598 votes coming in third in the Christ the King ward. So you have Sharon Davis first, Michael Talbot second, Henry Heck third, followed by Matt Whitcomb fourth, and in a very close finish, Bob Perro comes in with that fifth spot by, I take that back, I misread that, I apologize. Anatario again is fifth, followed by Bob Perro Jr., and sorry about that, with 501. That zero looked like a 5 to me, and I thought there was one vote margin, but there wasn't. It was 49 vote margin. And last but not least, and certainly not least by any stretch, ran a great campaign, Eddie Grove with 305 votes. So again, Sharon Davis with a whopping 702 votes in Christ the King Ward 2, followed by Michael Talbot with 604 votes. Henry Heck coming in with a strong third in Christ the King Ward with 598 votes. And then, let's see, Matt Whitcomb with coming in fourth in that one with 548 votes. And, actually, no, I need to swap that around. I apologize. And it's not my glasses. I have good glasses.
You're doing great for doing it on the fly.
Yeah. So Anatario is 550 and Matt Whitcomb is 548. So very, very close there. See, your vote does count. It does matter.
It does matter.
So again, Anatario in fourth and Matt Whitcomb in fifth, just by a two-vote margin. So let me roll that over again. Sharon Davis, 702. Michael Talbot, 604. Henry Heck, 598. And Anatario with 550 and Matt Whitcomb with 548. There we go. So there's your top five. And that certainly looks consistent throughout the night. And so that should be The incumbents being reelected with 2 new members, returning members Matt Whitcomb and Henry Heck. And Henry is here in the studio with us tonight, so we'll have him on in a little bit, and we can congratulate him there. And I should say, for the record, though, all these official results are, in fact, unofficial, because they're not official until the city clerk and the state of Vermont actually certify them. So this is what we believe at this point at PEG TV. But we think they're probably pretty accurate. School commissioner, let's get to that. We have we have the Godnick Ward, and I don't know if we rattled that off, so we should say Justine Franco, again, top vote getter for the school board, 430 votes, a pretty wide margin. But this time followed by Jen Rodone.
Rodone, yeah.
Getting closer.
Yeah.
In second place with 321, followed by Charlene Seward with 302, and Stephanie Studley with 290. That is in Godnick Ward 1. And then going over to the largest ward in the city now, Christ the King Ward, Justine Franco carries the night, 584 votes on the school board, followed by Charlene Seward, and then Jen Rodone in third with 458, and Stephanie Studley with 437. So again, in Ward 1 and 2, the largest wards, Justine Franco, top vote getter by pretty good margin. And then Jen Rodone following in Ward 1 with 321 votes. Justine Franco had 430, followed by Charlene Seward with 302, and Stephanie Studley with 290. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4. Justine Franco again in Ward 2, carrying the night, kind of like Sharon Davis is for the Board of Aldermen, and then followed by Charlene Seward in this case, then Jen Rodone, and then Stephanie Studley. So that is your top vote getters in Ward 1 and 2.
So I have a phonetic pronunciation.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if I can get this right.
All right.
It's Ron Donahue.
Rondinoni.
Sorry, Jen.
Jen Rondinoni.
There you go.
There we go, Jen Rondinoni. Thank you for bearing with us, Jen. And I should have asked you sooner. So let's go to a couple of the other questions, of course, just to verify that the budget articles. Okay, so 430 votes yes for the municipal budget in the big ward, one of the big wards, Godnick, to 288 no. And the school budget, 436 in Ward 1, Godnick, to 309 no. So, I can quickly go over to Christ the King, but without a doubt, the municipal budget and the school budget have passed, 592 to 473 for the municipal budget in Christ the King Ward, and 569 to 526 for the school budget in the Christ the King Ward. So the school budget is passed without a doubt. The municipal budget is passed without a doubt. And then in the charter article, which is the number 1 regarding fluoride, no fluoride, yes is to removing fluoride, 286, no is to keeping fluoride. So a no vote says keep it, 459 for keeping fluoride. And then up in the Christ the King Ward, yes is 402 to removing it, and 692 votes to keep it, which is a no vote, 692. So it looks like fluoride remains, and your municipal budget passes, and the school budget passes, Mayor, at this point. And
that sounds great
yeah.
for Rutland, Tom.
And then you've got, it looks like, unless things really, I don't see any changes once these are finalized, that you've got your returning incumbent alderman.
Yeah.
And then your 2 former aldermen, Matt Whitcomb and Henry Heck, both returning to the board. So that's the way that looks like it's shaping up for tonight.
I think that speaks to Rutland's looking for the experience. right? So if you think about who's on the board, we have all the incumbents coming back. We have 2 returning aldermen. I think Rutland looks for the experience that's on the board. I think that Bob and Eddie both ran a great campaign, and having new voices is always something that Rutland can benefit from. But this year, I think experience won out in this election. So
yeah, I'd have to concur. And then the other thing that's of importance, of course, is the school commissioners.
Yeah.
And at this point, wow, Justine Franco carrying the night, it looks like.
Yeah, and she was the school nurse when my kids were at Rutland High, and it's she's well known. I think she understands the school system really well. I think she'll be along with the others that got elected tonight. I think she'll be a fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to look and see, the numbers are a little closer, so I hate to call anything other than Justine's clearly going to take that first spot. I would say that just looking at a couple, and let me just compare and make sure I've got it, that it looks as you're taking 3 out of the 4. And so I'm just looking, it's very close. I don't want to, without trying to add all these up in my head, I don't want to call the other races in order yet at this point, other than Justine clearly is a top vote getter in every ward, and it looks like that she's going to definitely be one of the new school commissioners. And then there was a write-in campaign that we won't know the results of, but there was one seat that these were 3-year, these were the 3-year terms, and there was actually one open seat for the school board that's kind of slipped through without anybody actually noticing, I guess, that there was nobody in that race. Yeah. And there was a couple of candidates that were running as write-ins, which we won't have results for, I don't think, because those
that'll take some time to hand count
separately. Yeah.
Commissioner Kefauver stepped down. And just in the time in which he stepped down, the slot was available for people to put their name in, but nobody put in for the 2-year position. And you have to pick when you submit your paperwork, when you're getting those signatures, you have to submit. Do you want, in the cases of the vacancies, you have to say, do I want that 3-year position or do I want that 2-year position that I'm going to run for? Right. And we saw, again, just like last year, we saw Larry Coopoli and Cheryl Hooker run for those 1-year positions. They had to specifically say those were the positions that they were running for.
And so before you go, I just wanted to ask you what I'm assuming too that you heard as the top issue for folks, public safety, and I just wanted to get your opinion on that, Mayor, before we.
Well, and I think we put a lot of effort in. I think we put a ton of effort into public safety in Rutland. Our police department, with the budget that we have right now, it hopefully will be fully staffed here shortly for now. And then we have new positions coming. Since this budget was approved for FY25, starting in July, we'll have new positions available to continue hiring officers. That was one of the biggest lifts, one of the biggest rises in this year's budget, again, was to focus on public safety. That was the biggest ask that I heard in the past almost year now that I've been in this position, and that I think was the biggest result of our efforts, was to push into that, to say, hey, we need competitive wages so we can hire good officers, and we need to be able to hire those positions and put them back. Because over the previous years, while those positions weren't filled, we were cutting those positions from the budget to save money. Some of those positions were left on the table, so to speak, and then removed, so we have to put them back in now. And that's agreements that the board has made to the police department and to the city, to the citizens really, is to put those positions back in over time. So it's good to see that happening. And honestly, we have 3 cadets in the academy right now, gearing up to be Rutland City police officers. Wow. And that's a bit of a process, right? A 4-month process.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
It does take some time. But public safety was the biggest thing we needed to focus on this year from a community concern standpoint, and it is the one thing that we put the most attention to in the budget and in our efforts. So I think, listening to the citizens in Rutland reacting to what they're asking for is really important to myself. It's really important to this board, and I believe it'll be important to this board moving forward. So.
Well, and I think the voters agreed with you and by a pretty wide margin approved the municipal budget. So
yes, so I think they wanted to see the same thing, which is great. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. Actually great to have you back on so soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tom. We'll talk to you soon.
All right,
okay?
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, take care.
And I know what Henry Heck is here with us, and by the unofficial results, looks like he'll be one of our new returning city aldermen. And so we want to thank Mayor Mike Dunges for coming on with us and giving us his insight. And if Henry is prepared, we'll bring on one of our new/returning aldermen, former city clerk Henry Heck. Hello, Henry. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome to the
Exciting
program.
night.
Yeah.
Exciting.
We're really glad to have you on. It's kind of great that you were doing so well in the wards. And so you were out there. How did you feel confident, or is it too hard to tell?
It's, you never know. The voters, how they're going to be and stuff. I mean, my prior history with the city, I think folks had respected the job I had done before. Prior to that, 3 years, I tried as an alderman, lost my first go-around by 24 votes to
I didn't
Karen
remember
Bossy.
that.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Took a year off, came back, and, I was fortunate that I was able to get on the board, and then followed up with another term, and halfway in between there, I was
Mayor Lewis.
afforded the opportunity to become city clerk.
Right, Mayor Lewis
So,
appointed you then.
Yep, so it was great. But
And then Mayor Allaire reappointed you, and you
Yep.
kept going.
Yep.
I have a quote from you back then. I took it from the newspaper from back then, believe it or not. And,
Okay.
it was, it has been one of my greatest pleasures to serve the citizens of the city.
Yeah, truly, the city clerk's position is, it's one of those, I like to call it Switzerland. We're a very neutral entity out there. All we care about is collecting information, distributing information, making sure the voters have the opportunity to vote. Every ballot and every vote gets counted. And it can be a tough job. It's not easy.
Oh, yeah.
I think today there's a couple small snafus within the election world. The machines, I think there was a glitch early on in regards. The new machines that we got just prior to me being done as city clerk, the technology, it's a lot slower placing the ballots in.
Okay.
And sometimes it's more voter specific. Before, ward clerks used to work with the voter to get the information in there, make sure it was put in properly and then
Right.
counted. Now it's to the point where the voter basically pushes all the buttons. We're just there kind of in the background if something needs to be done and said. So, but
Yeah, there was a digital readout. I was kind of reading as I went along.
Yep.
And then the other thing I was just going to mention was with of course, this is a presidential primary election, so
Yep.
you had a whole separate ballot to run
Sure.
through there first
Yep.
before we put our local municipal ballot through.
Yep.
So that took you had to be very patient to let that first one go through, not rush the second one.
Yep.
At least I was, and
Yep.
because I didn't want to.
And it did create a little bit of a problem, but the folks there, Susan Clark was a woman who worked under me for a bit. She was clerk for a year and decided it was maybe too much of a time commitment. Susan was fantastic, and the other ladies have been down there doing this for quite some time. So there's a good staff there to take care of the
Totally
voters.
agree. Absolutely. Yeah, and I saw some of them today, actually, at Ward
Yep.
1, so when I was up there. And I was there early, trying to beat the crowd, and we were there at a little after 7.
7 o'clock.
Yeah, I was number 20 going through. I think Gail was 19, so,
Yeah.
we got in and out of there. But, and it was good to see the city report out there, too, I meant to say as well. So this was, I just wanted to say while we're doing this, that we had a little update, and I'm not sure exactly what the update is on American Legion, but I'm going to read it off anyway. And while you're here, Henry, Sharon Davis, again, 380 votes. That Sharon works hard. And
34 years
Wow.
of being on the board. God bless her, because I'm not sure. It's a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, you said a mouthful there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of time, and she's been very dedicated to the citizens of the city, taxpayers. Sharon comes across as being super frugal, but at the same time, she has a deep desire to move the city forward and to do what's best, but also to try and be conservative in the tax structure, because taxes are going up. The states, you hear all these rumors about what the increase will be with
Property
the city,
tax,
budget increasing, and then the potential of our appraisal, down the road and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's you know, it's daunting. It's a scary time for citizens because not everybody's well-to-do. Not everybody has the opportunity to pay their taxes with not much concern and stuff. So
That's right.
it's a delicate balancing act, to say the least, as far as that goes.
Well, in Ward 3, again, American Legion, where I have Sharon Davis with 380, I have now you coming in second behind Sharon with 329 votes. So there you go, Henry.
Awesome.
And that's our Ward 3 American Legion on Washington. And then followed by Michael Talbot with 320, and followed by Matt Wickham with 306, and then Anna Taddeo with 301. So there's your top 5. But in that ward, you're second, Henry. So there you go. And then just to make sure, again, Justine Franco, we're just going to repeat this Ward 3, is the top vote getter there with 303. And then, let me just see. I wrote that. And let's see, so this is a pretty close race still with Stephanie Studley with 246, Charlene Seward with 242, and then Jen Rendononi, I should say, with 234. So that is the school commissioners in Ward 3. And then just to see if there's any change, just real quick, I'm just going to look and see if there's anything on the articles. Really no change in the social service. Oh, no, that's social service. I was going to look in the budget articles. Don't think that that'll change much. Article 1, city municipal budget, 357 yes, 235 no. School budget, 343 yes, 262 no. And then the charter article number 1 on fluoride, yes would be to remove fluoride, 250, and no to remain, keep fluoride in the water, 353. So none of those change either. 2 municipal budgets pass and fluoride remains. And that's just the retally of Ward 3 to make sure we've got that right. So now I want to ask you 2 things. One is, because you weren't actually, you worked in a different capacity today, by the way.
Now I'm working in a different capacity.
Today you were, when you were out and about, you weren't actually having to actually run the wards.
It's hard to change up on
But you had to
those
work the
things,
wards,
so,
yeah.
you know, a little bit.
And so I was just curious, off the cuff of the weather, was it any kind of impact today? Do you think it was really crappy out, to be quite frank?
I'll tell you, spent a majority time, started early, as you know, at Godnick Center.
Yeah, saw you first thing.
And then kind of moved on to Christ the King, where I spent a fair amount of time. I didn't ask, for a lot of help. I'm not a big seeker out there, even though, the kind of the 2 groups, the Davis, Perro, Heck,
Right, yep.
and the other folks type stuff, which, at the end of the day, I'm all about working together. So we're going to need to, do something to find a common bond or common ground as far as that goes. I look forward to working with the other aldermen. Joe Barbagallo, I've worked with a ton, as well as yourself on
You
tax
bet.
appeals and those kind of things.
Joe's
So I
a
have
worker.
a working relationship. I've known Kerry Savage for probably 40 years. Michael Talbot I've worked with. I mean, all these folks I did orientations with. I was, the mayor's clerk for a year when he was board president. Matt Whitcomb, I was his clerk for 2 years when he was in there. So there's, we know each other for sure as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different, but it's still the same. And at the end of the day, we're trying to do what's best for the community and to push, things forward. I know we can do better. We deserve better. And at the end of the day, I just think, my goal is going to try and make it better Rutland, as far as that is.
So you're out and about, and you did a lot of campaigning. Were you hearing, and Chris, again, as I was just saying to the mayor, that there's a national theme that you keep hearing a lot about, but I don't know if that always translates down to our local scene or not. Is the economy number one? I know public safety is a big issue.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think that big big politics are heading into small town type things. And, I got kind of sidetracked there. You're kind of talking about the, the weather and those things going on.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, it was brutal about 3, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
The rain came down. I know that, folks, Michael Talbot was there pretty much from dusk to dawn as far as that goes, and pretty cold. As well, I know Bob Perro had to go home and change his clothes a couple times. His wife was there.
Yeah.
So the candidates, they really put out a great effort. It wasn't a perfect day. I've been out there and it was 15 below zero and windy. I don't know which is worse, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But everyone was very committed, to the cause and to try and get elected. So, you're working with dedicated people as far as that goes. On that national level, Tom, it's interesting because, the one thing that I have seen is the amount of money now that gets spent and how things are.
Yeah.
Rutland Forward is very well organized. They're a group that, definitely, has their plans set, how they're going to function, what they're going to do. They've been very proactive as a group, promoting their candidates as far as that goes. Again, I can work with anybody, or any group, any individual as far as that goes. I don't like to kind of put myself in a box where I'm doing something. I'm an independent. I've voted for Democratic people, Republican people, independent people as far as that goes. I want just, what's best for my community, what's going to be best for everybody that's out there. So I think, the one ability that I'm going to try and do is, I don't want to say unite, but I can pretty well talk and gather and pass information and gather information in a respectful manner, and work with everybody. So that's really the biggest thing that, I want to do. The national politics are really they're going to play their part out there. There's no question about what's going to happen. And, come November, again, I saw some things as the prior clerk. With the reapportionment of the wards,
Right.
A lot of people were still going to the wrong wards. And, respectfully, I have a 1x4. Do you know what a 1x4 is, Tom?
No.
It's the person who votes one time every 4 years, and it's for the presidential election.
Gotcha.
Okay, and you're going to see a 75% to 80% turnout in November. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen.
Wow.
But there's going to be, I think that the city is going to need to be very frugal in letting people know. If you have not been to your ward yet, you're going to want to check to try and proactively, guide the voters, because it is our duty to try and pass that information along as far as that goes. And there is still a fair amount of just misinformation or misguidance on their part, thinking they were supposed to be at 1 and they had to go to 2, or they're at 2 and they had to go to 3 as far as that goes. So
now, in fairness, we came up with a reapportionment plan that was a little smoother, and the state in their wisdom decided to override our plan. And I want to put an exclamation point on that by telling you I was at Christ the King today talking to Father Bernie, and he was telling me how he goes, so he's across the street from the school and goes down to American Legion to cast his ballot.
Yep.
Even though he says, I can look out and see the front door of Christ the King.
Yep.
And I said, well, Father, I said, just so you know, we had a different plan.
We certainly did have a tremendous plan for the city that met, as far as we're concerned, all the guidelines and why it happened the way it happened. We only have X
had their
amount of time.
mind mained up on that.
Yeah.
And it's a little gerrymandering, I think, was going on there. And,
There's no question.
Unfortunately, we got caught up in the middle of that, and it all had to shift around. But
the voters should know that we really did. We took the opportunity to try and make it a smooth transition and to present guidelines that the state allowed us to present. We did a phenomenal job. It just, for whatever reason, it wasn't grabbed and
no,
held.
the group worked real hard on that.
Yes.
So, Henry, while you're right here, they were kind enough to start tallying things for us. It looks like with the total, and these are unofficial, and I'm saying this in front of the former city clerk, who always told me make sure it's unofficial, because they're not official till we say they are.
That's for sure.
We've got in the school board race in Rutland City, Justine Franco is, no surprise, top vote getter with 1,785 votes. And it looks like followed by Charlene Seward with 1,399 votes, then followed by Stephanie Studley with 1,372 votes, and then Janine Rondinoni with 1,364 votes. So as you can see, with the exception of Justine Franco, the other three are a very tight race there. It does delineate your top 3 out of 4, which will be accepted, but we certainly don't want to call that officially, since these are the unofficial tallies, and it is, I see one margin there, which is only 8 votes, and that, that could potentially change given other factors in the counting that we won't want to call here at PEG TV tonight per se, but the one we can call for sure, Justine Franco, is clearly a top vote getter with 1,785 votes. And then for city alderman, again, one clear winner that we were quite aware of course, Sharon Davis. Her total then becomes 2,093 votes at this point, and again, unofficially. And it looks like followed by Michael Talbot with 1,841 votes, and then followed by our own Henry Heck right here with 1,776 votes. And then the 4th spot being Matt Whitcomb with 1,733 votes, and that 5th spot, Anna Taddeo with 1,724 votes. So there's your top 5 in total, unofficially here at PEG TV for Rutland City Alderman, and that's consistent with what we've been saying all night. So again, Henry, I think it is safe to third in that is a respectable showing, and definitely shouldn't change, in my opinion. I think that you're solid, and welcome back.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Tom, if I may, in that school board race and stuff, it's very interesting. As, clerk for 14 and a half years, you always kind of look. The potential for a recount is there if it's separated by 8 votes, the 3rd and 4th place finisher. And I mean this in the most respectful manner. The machines and technology today are so good. If everything is done according to the way it's supposed to be done, packed up the way it's supposed to at the end of the night, recounts done, I would sit here and tell you, I mean, in all the years I've done it, I've seen a vote change 1, maybe 2. I've never seen it change more than that. As disappointing as it may be to a person, I mean, when I lost by 24, people always said, recount. And I didn't even know, what the technology was like back then and stuff. But it can be a hard pill to swallow and stuff. I made a very huge clerical error there back with the school race. I don't know if Marisa was married at that point in time to Devin Neary, but kind of inverted numbers. And what I thought was, a clear victory turned out to be not so clear. I think it was 5 votes at the end of the day, which is a little bit close to the NIS. And when we did it, it ended up being basically the same. One person got 1 and the other person got 1.
Because it has to net out, which is the other thing about that. You don't pick up 8 per se, because the other candidate can pick up 1 or 2, and it has to be a net gain, and that's where it really comes in, makes it difficult.
So, and especially if it goes through the tabulator, I mean, that's what it's there for. That machine just, it just kind of.
I gotta like it, I have to tell you, and the quickness of the results too. And we do have the final on the fluoride in the city water, which is voting no if you want to leave it in, no to removing it, 2,031, yes to removing it, 1,334. So that article, in effect, fails to ask to remove it by a vote of about 60-40. One other thing ahead of my mind when you're talking about working together too, and one of the things I've always liked, and there was one point where it came up in the conversation which I had opposed, was to break the city up into wards, and that's fine for representation in Montpelier, not for the Rutland City Board of Aldermen. One of the things I like, if I'm in your shoes right now and you're elected citywide, you represent everybody in the city. We're only 8.5 square miles. It's not, you don't need to start dividing us. And you had said that in the forum that we had, which I completely related to. We are not big enough to, I think it would cause more division than ever. And I think, it's always nice when you're elected to your post as city alderman to be able to represent everybody in the city, not just the neighborhood.
And it's been a question that's been put to the voters before, and the voters were very adamant. They did not want specific ward type of representation. They wanted it to be citywide, or they looked at, doing award, and then 2 overall type things. So it's been experimented with. It'll probably be experimented with again at some point in time. But I'm the kind of person, I can't speak for anyone else, but if you're down and when I had some lawn signs, left over. My garb was 17 years old, Tom. I mean, those are the original signs that I used back in 2006, 2007.
There you go. That's frugal.
As far as that goes,
like
with my big sign that I had. But, I had some signs in Ward 3. I had some in, Ward 1 and 2 and 4 as far as that goes to kind of spread it out there. And, the support was pretty overwhelming from people in regards to, wanting to help me. To get there and stuff, and I can't say any more than that. People have issues, and I just, I want to be able to utilize the 14 years that I had at the clerk's office and everything I was able to do and all the people I was able to work with to utilize that on the board. And, I'm going to let people know up front, I'm not going to create any problems with the board, but I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. If Sharon Davis is in the chair, I'm going to hold her feet to the fire. If Michael Talbot's in the chair, I'm going to hold his feet to the fire. And I hope Attorney LaChance gets out the little green book, Robert's rules, and the board rules, and understands it's a little bit different when you're talking about parliamentary type things versus true law as far as that goes. It's not the same thing. And it's not easy, and I'm going to be respectful with that. But things are supposed to run a certain way, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to try and do my best to make sure that's going to be it. I don't want to look like a troublemaker. I don't want to start, any of those things. But, policies are policies, or board rules, or how people, present things, or how things are made, motions are presented, or the outcome of those motions and stuff. I just want to make sure that the voters get the best and most accurate information that they can. So the only reason I'm doing it is to make sure people understand. People are telling me they don't understand that I can only vote for one thing on a ballot. I mean, it's one of those things. I apparently didn't do my job well enough when I was there that people didn't know that they could just vote for one item.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Or no
okay.
items. They don't have to vote for every single thing on the ballot and stuff.
Yes, good point.
Or there's some things that are out there, and I think that as a municipality we need to be able to share, as much information as we can, or if people don't understand.
Educate that electorate. And then the other thing, because I think we should just take a moment here to there is a couple of seats opened up because Cheryl Hooker and Larry Copley are stepping off the board, but a couple of people who've been dedicated servants to the city, serving as senator, state representative, alderman, maybe more than once even. That's a lot of time off the couch. Yeah.
It's, people looked at me and said, "What is your problem?
What are you thinking?
Why do you want to do that again?" And
you're too young to call it quits yet.
Yeah, not quite that young. But I just feel obligated sometimes that there are issues in this city that need to be addressed. And again, tonight's a night for celebrating, for the people that worked very hard and, are now on the board. So, tomorrow or the first meeting, we can start looking at those things. And again, it's going to be my job to try and make sure that I am best representing our community and our city the way that I've been asked to do so. So, we'll get to those things here in a short period of time. We'll kind of move forward as far as that goes. But I'm very excited. I'm very thankful to the people that have, helped support me, allowed me to put signs on their lawn, whether it was a business or an individual resident and stuff. It means a lot because, you're putting yourself out there when you're staking
And I always thank the members that put their name on the ballot. I've said this many, many times on these programs, and because it's really a lot. With win or lose, the fact that you actually were willing to put your name on the ballot and be considered
Yep.
is a pretty big deal.
And if I may, I got to work with Bob Perro Jr. a lot. Bob put
I
in
spoke with him this morning a little bit.
a tremendous effort. I think he's a very worthwhile candidate for voters to take a look at. I hope Bob decides maybe to do it again. I got to meet Eddie Grove for 47 seconds, in regards at the
Yeah.
forum and stuff.
Right.
I don't know a lot about Eddie. I'd love to, be able to learn a little bit more about him. I've always found it very interesting why people come here. I was born and raised here. I don't know about you, Tom,
Same.
as far as that goes,
Yeah,
but,
ditto.
I want to learn. Why do you want to come to Rutland?
Right.
Because, sometimes we may take it for granted, or, we get beat up, sometimes about Rutland, Rutland's this, Rutland's that. But, we also know Rutland's a great community. When the crap hits the fan, they pull themselves together, and there's no other community like that as far as that goes.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
No question.
Yeah, I've seen that over and over.
Yep.
And there's a real need in some sort of crisis, coast-around crisis, because it's of all variations and levels. But the community just rallies and resolves it every single time. It's one of the things that makes it special, no question about it.
So.
Yeah. Well, Henry, thank you very much for being on. Again,
appreciate
congratulations on your victory.
Tom, I'd like to thank
yeah.
you for doing this all these years and stuff. I know I may have helped you a little bit in the past with some numbers.
Yeah, you sure have.
Those kind of things,
Yeah,
but keep reporting and keep letting the public know.
Well, and you'll recall way back, but he can't do it anymore. He's a judge now. But John Valenti and I did this together for so many years.
Yep.
And then we had Nancy Gordon and Lisa Ryan and
someone was actually talking about Judge Valenti there. That is he a federal judge now, I guess?
No, I think he's still district, and he's and I know he was in Bennington.
Yep.
But the other day, I think I saw him driving to the Rutland courthouse, so I can't keep track of him.
He's a good man.
Yeah, but he's not allowed to do this anymore. So
You're on your own. You need a co-pilot now.
Thank you again, Henry Heck.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, congratulations to Henry Heck for being reelected to the Rutland City Board of Aldermen this evening, along with Matt Wickham. And I don't know if we're going to see Matt tonight, but he was invited on the program as well. And we're very glad to have Mayor Mike Dungas join us initially with the beginning of the program. And that was very kind of him to give us time. Last time we had him on, he was getting elected to the mayor of Rutland. Let's see now. Chelsea Vogel keeps passing some results to me. And, wow, we actually have some from somewhere outside of Rutland City we can talk about for a minute, which is great. So this is the town of Killington. And I want to look at, see where we have races, and I'm not sure. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull up their ballot so I can see where the races are. And we do have select board. So there are. Let me just give you this tally, and then we'll see what the race is. But James Half, I should say, 284 votes, and Andrew, and in quotes, in stone. It looks like Andrew Gaida in stone, 203. So you had James Half with 284 and Andrew Gaida in stone with 203. So Jim would be the, but I want to see if they were accepting more than, so let me look up Killington here and see if they're accepting one out of those two or both. And we'll just, thinking these are probably pretty, alphabetical. Here we are. Okay, so that was just vote for one in Killington. And so James Half would be the winner in Killington for the 3-year select board seat. Congratulations to James Half. 284 votes to Andrew Gaida in stone's vote of 203. Let's see if we have other races that were there in Killington, and there's probably a budget article and so forth, so let's see what we've got there. Oh, actually, I think we have school board, school district director, and that looks like just Katie Reed running and 395 votes. So let me just see if there is Unified School District. Just want to see if they had a municipal budget question here in Killington that we could read off. General fund expenditures. And which looks about right. Article 3, 288 votes yes to 216 votes no. So the Article 3, shall the voters approve a total general fund expenditure of $7,021,304, and that passes 288 in Killington to 216 no, 288 yes, 216 no. Here's an interesting one. Shall the town of Killington authorize cannabis retailers in the retail portions of integrated license operations in the town? And that passes in kind of close margin, but 265 yes to 244 no. Shall the town of Killington authorize cannabis retailers? 265 yes, 244 no. And there is an interesting question on here too from Killington. Shall the town authorize the select board to perform a study on the impacts of leaving the Mountain View Supervisory Union? And that passed 346 to 152 no. 346 yes, 152 no in Killington to authorizing the select board to perform a study on the impacts of leaving the Mountain View Supervisory Union. So that seems to be most of the races. Looks like uncontested things otherwise. I'm just going to check one more time. And again, getting back to the select board seat, looks like it goes to James Half, 284 votes, to Andrew Gaida, in quotes, in stone, 284 to 203 with James Half, the select board, winning the select board seat for 3 years in the town of Killington. All right, so at this point, and I think we've kind of gone over, but let's, when we have them in the totals for the social service agencies, we can go over that, but we also mentioned the municipal budget has passed in Rutland City, the school budget has passed in Rutland City, and the question to remove fluoride water fluoride from your water in the city has failed. And so the no vote, which is to leave fluoride in, no to removing it, is the decision of the voters in this case. So the ballot question, the article actually failed. So the fluoride will remain in the water. Now we'll look into social service agencies. The first one being Brock Community Action, kind of near and dear to me. With 2,144 yes to 1,219 no. The ARC Rutland area, 2,398 yes to 926 no. Center for Independent Living, 2,366 yes to 949 no. Rutland Area Visiting Nurse and Hospice, 2,511 yes to 815 no. One-on-one RSVP and Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging, 2,251 yes, 1,044 no. Marble Valley Regional Transit, the bus, in effect, 1,957 yes to 1,347 no. Rutland Mental Health Services, 2,168 yes to 1,119 no. New Story Center, 2,237 yes, 1,032 no. Rutland County Free Clinic, 1,975 yes, 1,275 no. Vermont Adult Learning, 2,218 yes, 1,087 no. Boys and Girls Club, 2,130 yes to 1,172 no. And of course, the Regional Ambulance Service, 2,305 yes to 999 no. The Mentor Connector, 2,094 yes to 1,214 no. And Wonder Feet Kids Museum, 1,938 yes to 1,376 No. So I think we have a total of, count them up, there's 4, 10, 12, 13 social service agency requests, and the voters have decided in their wisdom to approve allocations for all 13 with a yes vote. And that is for all 4 wards: Godnick, CKS, Christ the King School, Legion, the American Legion, and Calvary, which is Ward 4. And so that looks like all of the cutting edge results for this evening at this point. And so I think what we'll do at this juncture is take a little break, see if any more results come in from any of the other outlying towns, which we'd like to report to you as soon as we come back on the air. And if not, we'll wrap it up for tonight, but we'll take a brief break, give any other outlying towns an opportunity to send their results in that we'd like to report right out to you. But we'll come on the air either way and either report those results or sign off. And in the meantime, I'm Tom Donahue for PEG TV. We'll be back shortly. Hi, Tom Donahue back here for PEG TV on live election night coverage. We just have a little bit more information coming in from the town of Pollitt. I just wanted to let you know that Brian Krosman has won a select board seat for with 314 votes, and also Jessica Van Oort with 281 votes, and it's a select board for 1 year. I believe 2 seats were available, and so Brian Krosman with 314 and Jessica Van Oort 281. Just as a note of interest, in the national election in Pollitt, actually Donald Trump defeated Nikki Haley, but not by all that much, 119 votes for Donald Trump, and Nikki Haley with 93 votes in the town of Pollitt, and Joe Biden with 133 of the 153 votes cast on the Democratic side of the primary for tonight in the town of Pollitt. Just a note of interest there. Also over in Proctor, in the select board seat, Lisa Miser with the 3-year select board seat, and Alberta Wenta with the 2-year select board seat, so congratulations to them. Also in Killington, James Half winning the select board seat in the town of Killington tonight. In the city of Rutland, we have Justine Franco, Stephanie Studley, and Charlene Seward, the 3 folks elected to the Rutland City School Board this evening. That school board budget passing by a pretty significant margin. Additionally, the Rutland City municipal budget passing tonight, and the article failing, which is Article 1, which was to remove fluoride from the water. That article failed. And the 13 social service agency requests all passed. Additionally, you have 2 returning aldermen. So in order, first and top vote getter again, Sharon Davis tonight for Rutland City Board of Aldermen, followed by Michael Talbot, and then Henry Heck in 3rd place, with Matt Whitcomb returning and picking up 4th place, and Anna Taddeo coming in 5th place. So 5 out of those 7 elected tonight. So congratulations to them. Also, congratulations to Bob Perro Jr. and Eddie Groh for both running good campaigns for that and being willing to put your name on the ballot. It's, you know, being willing to get off the couch and serve, even though not elected tonight. It is much appreciated. And I do want to also shout out to the departing aldermen, Cheryl Hooker and Larry Coopely, both having served the city well over the years in such positions as State Senate, State Representative, and Rutland City Board of Aldermen. So thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Larry. And last but not least, thank you to PEG TV, the greatest community access television in the state and in New England and maybe the nation. Rutland Region Community Television, PEG TV. We want to thank Tom Leipold, the executive director here at PEG TV, Nancy Donahue, Chelsea Vogel, Rich Alnicki, Jim Boughton, William Chemlowski, Greg McCormick, Stephen Wilson, and Chris Donahue, all for helping to put together this great production tonight here at PEG TV. We thank you all very much. And last but not least, I want to thank all of the clerks, city clerk, and the workers at the polls today who really did a great job making this go as smoothly and as possible for a citywide election. And last but not least, thank you, voters of the city of Rutland, for getting out today and making your vote count. And also all of you who've been tuning in tonight to watch our live election night coverage. For PEG TV, I'm Tom Donahue, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in November.